in the heart of a sun-dappled forest, where streams giggled over smooth stones and ancient trees whispered secrets to the wind, lived a fluffy white rabbit named Luno and a clever squirrel named Pero. They were the best of friends, but they were as different as a carrot and a nut. Luno had a mind full of wonder. He'd lie on his back in clover patches, seeing dragons and castles in the puffy white clouds. He believed that if you listened closely enough, you could hear the flowers singing. He was a dreamer, a painter of possibilities. Pero, on the other hand, was a planner. He had a perfectly organized home inside a great oak tree, with every acorn counted and every berry sorted by color. He loved making lists and drawing maps. To Pero, the world was a puzzle, and every piece had its proper place. One evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of purple and orange, a strange thing happened. The forest animals gathered, as they always did, to watch the full moon rise. Its silvery light would cast long familiar shadows on the forest floor, guiding nocturnal creatures and helping everyone feel safe. But tonight, something was wrong. The moon climbed into the sky, bright and beautiful, but its shadow on the ground was gone. The familiar shapes of trees, rocks, and ferns no longer stretched across the paths. The forest floor was bathed in a flat, even light. A worried murmur spread through the animals. "How will I find my way back to my burrow?" squeaked a tiny field mouse. "The shadows are our map," chattered a family of raccoons. Panic began to bubble. Luno's ears twitched with excitement. Maybe the moon shadow went on an adventure. "Perhaps it's playing hide-and-seek behind the stars," he exclaimed, his nose wiggling. Pero, perched on a branch above, shook his head, his bushy tail flicking with concern. "That's not logical, Luno. Shadows don't go on adventures. They are created by light being blocked by an object. Something is interfering with the moonlight before it reaches the ground." He pulled out a small, smooth stone and a piece of bark, starting to sketch the position of the moon and the trees. Seeing the growing fear among their friends, Luno and Pero knew they had to do something. "We'll solve this mystery," Luno declared. "Pero, you'll be the chief detective, and I'll be the head Imagineer." Pero sighed, but a small smile touched his lips. "All right, Imagineer. Let's start with the facts. The moon is there. The trees are here. The light is visible, but the shadows are not. This means something invisible is blocking them. An invisible blanket." Luno gasped. "A magical sparkly blanket woven from moonbeams and morning dew," Pero tapped his chin. "Or perhaps a type of fog or mist that we can't easily see." He looked up, squinting. "The air does feel a bit thick. Let's climb to the highest point in the forest, the old whispering pine. From there we might see what's happening." So they set off. Luno hopped and bounced, imagining they were heroes on a grand quest to rescue the lost shadow. Pero scurried ahead, his sharp eyes scanning every detail, noting the unusual stillness of the leaves and the strange silence in the air. As they climbed higher and higher, the air grew cooler. Luno shivered. "It feels like we're walking into a cloud." He reached out his paw. "It's wet." Pero stopped and examined a pine needle. It was covered in tiny shimmering droplets that didn't feel like normal dew. "You're right, Luno. It's a very fine mist. And look," he pointed. The droplets were faintly glowing, scattering the moonlight in all directions instead of letting it pass through. "This is why there are no shadows. The light is being diffused. It's a magical fog," Luno cheered. "I knew it." Just as they reached the top of the whispering pine, a deep, gentle voice echoed through the mist. "Very clever, little ones." From the highest branch, two enormous golden eyes blinked open. It was Orion, the wise old owl, whose feathers were the color of the midnight sky. "You have seen what others could not." "Orion," Pero exclaimed, his heart thumping. "Did you do this? Did you make this magical fog?" The owl hooted softly. "I did. The forest has been peaceful for a long time, and some have forgotten how to work together. I created this test, this puzzle of the missing shadow, to see who had the wit and the spirit of cooperation to solve it." Luno's eyes widened. A test? But why? Orion explained. Deep within the heart of the forest lies a magical artifact known as the Key of Light. It keeps the forest in balance, making the flowers bloom brighter and the streams run clearer. But its magic was fading. It needed to be recharged by the combined power of two different ways of thinking, the creative spark and the steady hand of logic. He looked at Luno, then at Paro. You, Luno, saw the magic and wonder in the mystery. Your imagination gave you the courage to see it not as a problem, but as an adventure. And you, Paro, used logic and observation to understand the how and why. You didn't dismiss the magic. You sought to explain it. Orion unfurled one magnificent wing, revealing a small, glowing key shaped like a sun and a moon joined together. Together you have proven yourselves worthy. Your teamwork has passed my test. So what do we do now? Paro asked, ever the planner. Now, said the owl, his voice full of warmth, you must take this Key of Light to the Moon Petal Pond, but you must do it together. One of you must hold the key and the other must guide the way. Luno spoke up. Paro should guide us. He's the best map maker in the whole forest. Paro looked at Luno, and Luno should hold the key. His heart is full of belief, and the key needs that magic to work. So, with Luno carefully carrying the glowing key and Paro expertly guiding them through the misty woods, they made their way to the Moon Petal Pond. It was a hidden, beautiful place where a special lily bloomed only under the full moon. When they arrived, the pond was dark, the lily closed tight. Luno stepped forward to the water's edge and, as instructed by the memory of Orion's words, gently dipped the Key of Light into the center of the pond. A brilliant, warm light pulsed outwards from the key. The magical fog around them instantly dissolved into a shower of tiny harmless sparks, like fireflies dancing in the night. And as the mist cleared, the long dark shadows of the trees stretched across the ground once more. The moon lilies at the pond opened their petals, releasing a soft, sweet fragrance into the air. A cheer erupted from the forest as the animals who had followed from a distance saw the familiar shadows return. Balance was restored. From that day on, Luno and Paro were celebrated as the heroes of the forest. They showed everyone that it doesn't matter if you think with list and logic or with dreams and imagination. When different minds work together, they can solve any puzzle and bring light back to even the darkest of nights. And every time the moon was full, Luno and Paro would sit together, watching the shadows dance, knowing they were stronger together than they ever could be apart. Thanks for watching our story today. If you loved Luno and Paro's adventure, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more magical tales. See you next time.